Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to Growin Through It, a podcast dedicated to bringing you clarity so that you can harness your curiosity and be the creator of your life. Hosted by me, Shanae Rowe. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the very first episode of my new podcast. I have been wanting to start this potty for quite a while now, and I'm finally getting up the courage to do it, and I'm so stoked. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening to this one. Today, I'm going to be talking about growing through hard times. I thought this would be a really fitting first episode to talk about. And it's basically just all about finding the lessons within our challenging experiences. I'm a firm believer that everything in our life is happening for us. All the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, it's all happening for us, and kind of our responsibility to find the lessons within all of those moments, especially the hard moments, so that we can learn more about ourselves and who we are and what we want from the world. And it's also just another way for us to gain a greater appreciation for everything that we're going through, have been through, and want to experience. And it allows us to be more compassionate and empathetic and loving human beings. I think when we find the ability to learn from our challenges and truly come out the other side with some wisdom from that experience, then we're becoming newer versions of ourselves and aligning with who we are and showing up in our authenticity for ourselves and for the people that we care about. But before I jump into the episode of today, I just thought I'd share a little bit about myself, sort of who I am, why I decided to start a podcast, and the purpose behind it. So let's jump into that one. I guess I'll start with my age. I'm 22 years old, and I think like a lot of early 20-year-olds, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying a lot of things, seeing what sticks, meeting people, finding out about myself and what I like and what I don't like. And I think it's really relatable for a lot of people in their early 20s to have this sort of feeling that we don't really know what we're doing. And I know, like, I hear from so many people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who say, like, you will never know what you're doing. But I think being in our 20s, we sort of have this expectation that we are supposed to know what we're doing, and we don't. And we kind of hope that we'll figure it out eventually. But I think one thing that I am learning is that the whole point of this beautiful world is to just constantly be evolving. We are not really going to know what is happening, what's going on, what we want. And then maybe we will find something that lights a little fire inside of us and it does sustain us. And then the more we learn and grow from that experience, the more our desires and what we want from life changes. So I think the big, beautiful thing about being in our early 20s is just trying all these things, seeing places, meeting people, getting to know ourselves and who we are in this very moment. So at the moment I'm living in southeast Queensland on the Gold Coast. I've been here for a little while, but I'm not originally from here. I did grow up in a little country town in Western Victoria, a little town that had about 2,000 people in it. So it's where I spent the first 18 years of my life there, in the wide open roads and trees everywhere. And after I finished high school, I moved to Geelong to study a Bachelor of Civil Engineering. And that actually happened during COVID. So I moved out of home on res and wasn't actually there for too long because we all kind of got kicked off campus, basically, with all the COVID stuff going on. And so, I moved back to Nil for a little while, finished just my first year of uni, decided it wasn't really for me, and decided to move back to Geelong anyways, in a house with some people that I'd met while studying. So yeah, that was a bit of fun. So I spent the next few years from 2020 to 2023 in Geelong, which was really nice. Got to experiment with jobs that I liked, jobs that I didn't like. I got to navigate how to be an adult, which was really scary at first. There were a lot of times where I wanted to go back home, back to the safety of my parents' house and yeah, but no, I pushed through and I'm so glad that I did because I got to learn so much about myself and the people that I vibe with. Geelong was a really wonderful time for me to navigate friendships and relationships and housemates and jobs and all that kind of stuff that comes when you move out of home to a new place that's really unfamiliar. So yeah, that was a really wonderful time. I made some beautiful friends there. Um, so yeah, after Geelong, I actually spontaneously decided to move to a tropical island in Queensland. So yeah, I moved to Hamilton Island back in 2023. And I'm so glad that I did that. I got to learn so much about myself coming out of a 2-year relationship. It was kind of the first time in my adult life where I was single and not at home and really discovering who I am and was and wanted to be. So it was a really pivotal moment. And I also got to meet a whole bunch of beautiful people there. Had some really wonderful housemates and really loved the people that I worked with. And yeah, it was kind of the first sort of moment in my life where I thought, like, I have found a really strong community of beautiful people that I vibe with. And yeah, I'm just really grateful, still friends with them. And yeah, very, very thankful for that. But yeah, while I was on Hamilton Island, I knew that I didn't want to be there forever. I couldn't shake this feeling of wanting to do van life. And while I was in Geelong, I had actually planned on doing van life with my partner at the time, but that it didn't work out, which looking back, it was definitely the right thing at the time to sort of leave that relationship and say no to traveling in a van with that person. Because, yeah, the stars sort of aligned while I was on Hamilton Island and I found a beautiful van up for sale in Tasmania from a lovely, lovely lady. And yeah, sort of teed that up while living on Hamilton Island, booked flights to go down there and haven't looked back really ever since. So, yeah, it was a really exciting time for me to buy that van. I hadn't inspected it or anything. I just fully trusted this woman that I was buying the van off of, that it was going to be, it was going to be okay and that it was going to be the start of a new chapter and everything that was supposed to happen would happen. I just fully trusted that it wasn't going to be a lemon and it was going to be a good time and I wouldn't be conned into spending so much money on a van that I hadn't even seen in person yet. And I'm so glad that I trusted myself because it actually turned out to be the best decision that I've made in my entire life. So yeah, fast forward a couple months and I quit my job on Hamo and flew back to Victoria quickly to get my manual license because I bought a van that was a manual and I didn't even have my manual license, didn't even really know how to drive a manual, and I was just winging everything at this point. So yeah, flew back down to Victoria, quickly got my manual license so that I could get on the next flight basically that I'd already booked to go to Tasmania and pick up this van. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience, a beautiful send off for the lady who sold it to me, and I'm sure she agrees that it was just the perfect little send off for her van and the start of a new chapter for both of us. So yeah, I've kind of been doing van life ever since. It's been the hardest thing that I've ever done in my whole life, but it's been the most rewarding. And I'm sure if there's any solo travelers listening right now, you understand how equally painful but life-changing solo travel is. Like, you discover so much about yourself and what you're capable of, and you meet people that just feel like family, and it's a really wonderful, wonderful experience. So yeah, just a little recommendation if anybody hasn't done solo travel. Highly recommend. It'll change your life and you will be so happy that you decided to do it. But anyways, so yeah, I started van life in June of 2023 and still doing it, still floating about here and there, seeing what comes my way. And I think it's really important for me to mention that during this time is sort of where I found my creativity and kind of a deeper purpose to my life. Because while I was traveling and exploring, I was exposed to so many physical and mental challenges, like my van broke down, all these things going on, things going wrong, left, right, and center, and I really had no one to depend on and ask for help. So, yeah, it was a real challenge for me, especially at the start, like navigating a lifestyle that I really had no idea about. Like, I had no idea how to live on the road, and I think I was very naive coming into it, thinking that it would be all sunshine and rainbows, but it really is not. Just want to disclose that it's actually freaking hard, but really bloody rewarding to do. And yeah, so with all these things going wrong and learning things about myself and meeting people, I sort of felt a calling to share what was going on with people, as a way to inspire you all. Because one thing that I have learnt while solo traveling is that you are capable of so much more than you even give yourself credit for. Like, there are times, and I will mention all the stories in future podcasts, but there were legitimate times where I was in so much distress and pain and wrapped up in this whirlwind of a challenging moment that I genuinely thought I was not capable of overcoming it. That I thought I would be stuck in that state forever and that my life would come crashing around me more than it was. And just having this blind faith that even with all the shit that was going on, like, I would be okay. And I really found sort of my inner strength while solo traveling. And because of this, I felt a real strong urge to inspire people to chase their own calling, because, like, I know not everyone's going to want to go and travel in a van around Australia. And I'm not here to try and convince you all that it's something that you should do. But what I have come to understand is that no two people are the same. No one. Like, you're nothing like your brother or your sister or your mum or your dad or your best friend, right? We are all so vastly different from one another. And I think it's really important that we honor ourselves and our differences and the things that make us us. Because we're all here on our own personal journey, trying to navigate our way through all the ickiness and the wonder and the awe and the beauty to sort of find where we belong, what works for us, the people that we seamlessly connect with the most. We're all here just on this journey for ourselves, learning about who we are and what we want. So yeah, through van life, I sort of got this really strong urge to start a book, and I started writing a book. Yeah, had a massive draft done, ready to go, and it actually got stolen. But again, a story for another day. But with all these seemingly crappy things that have happened to me, I am blissfully aware that it has all happened for me. And so this podcast is kind of a little project for me to share my learnings and little pieces of wisdom that I've accumulated over my 22 years on this beautiful earth, and just to help other people move through their own hard times and the difficulties and inspire others to chase their dreams, to live up to what they want from their life, to go after the version of themselves that they really want to be, and have no shame about that, because we're all so different, but we're all here at this very moment sharing the world. And honestly, I just want to help people help themselves. So, yeah, at the end of the day, this podcast is kind of just a little thing from me to you to help you navigate all the challenges that you're going through, and also to help you find gratitude in all the little moments scattered throughout your day, because I honestly believe that there is so much beauty in this world that a lot of people don't even notice. There are so many beautiful things in this world that at first glance might seem insignificant, but I really think the little things are what we're here to appreciate. So, yeah, circling back to the topic of today, which is all about experiencing challenges and how to move through them gracefully, I firstly wanted to talk about why it's even important to look for the hidden meaning within our suffering. A lot of you might be asking, like, what is the point of going through all of our challenges? Like, why do we have to find something within those moments? Why can't we just go through it, get on with our lives, and come out the other side and wait to be happy again? And I think it's really important to try and find lessons in our pain and suffering, because it allows us to self-reflect. It's one of the best ways that you can reflect on yourself and your values and kind of the trajectory that you're taking your life on. And the ability to self-reflect is a really important tool to grow as a person. And I guess none of you would really be here listening to this episode if you weren't interested in learning how to grow as a person. So when we reflect on our challenges, especially as they are happening, we gain this ability to reflect on who we are. And this leads us to be able to move through our struggles in more of an alignment with who we are, and it allows us the ability to focus on sort of who we want to become. And a good example of this for me personally was the decision of dropping out of uni. And it felt so wrong and not okay in the moment. It was, a lot of it was me second guessing my judgment, being like, well, I feel like this isn't right for me. I don't think civil engineering is the path I want to go down, but like, what do I know? What am I going to do if I don't go to uni? How am I going to live in the world? And I want to remind you all that it's really normal to have these thoughts going on in your mind, to be doubting yourself and questioning your judgment. But at the end of the day, only you know the way. Only you know what is right for you and what's going to lead you closer to your truth. So yeah, while I was kind of tossing up whether to drop out of uni or not, I had all of these factors to consider. Like, I didn't want to move back home. I wanted to be away from home, learning how to be an adult. I really wanted that. That was like the number one thing I wanted, was my independence and to figure things out in a new town by myself. Like, I really wanted that, but I didn't know what I would do if I wasn't at uni, and I didn't know what my life would look like if I wasn't at uni, or if I didn't have a uni degree. And as well, another thing that I was tossing up whether to drop out or not, or even just defer. Like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. But yeah, so I was actually on a scholarship at that uni, which was a really, really big thing for me, especially coming from probably not a financially well-off family. So it was really important for me to have this scholarship there as something to fall back on financially. And also it was a really great support network. Like, there were a lot of mentors. I got paired with a mentor. Everyone that was in this scholarship program got paired with a mentor, and it was all about growing and learning how to make the most of our uni experience, which is why I didn't want to drop out, actually. I was really scared of what would happen. I wouldn't have that financial stability there backing me. But I just kept circling back to, I don't want to do civil engineering. And then I would ask myself, like, what do I even want to do? If I don't do civil engineering, do I want to transfer into another degree? Do I want to defer for a year or 6 months and figure out what I want to do? Or do I want to drop it completely and just start winging it and wing my entire life? And it was a really challenging time for me because I was constantly doubting myself. I didn't know how to navigate that really tricky situation. And instead of taking a moment and reflecting on why it felt so horrible to be stuck in this whirlwind of, do I drop out, do I not, I just ignore my feelings basically. But that led me to sit with my emotions and ask myself the question of, who do I actually want to be? And is continuing this degree going to get me to that place? So it actually took me a little while to finally decide and commit to dropping out of university. And I think what would have made it easier is if I sat down with myself and tried to find something positive in what was happening to me. Because at the time, I was sort of in this mindset of, oh my God, why is this happening? Why do I feel like this? Why can't I just be okay with doing this uni degree and finishing it? Why do I have to be second guessing myself? And yeah, so I was really in this mindset of, why is this happening to me? Instead of looking at it from a different perspective and thinking, okay, this is something that I'm experiencing and it's something hard and something that I've never experienced before. Why is it happening? What could this be teaching me? But yeah, instead, it was very much like, why is this happening to me? Why do I feel like this? I don't want to feel like this anymore. So taking a different approach while I was stuck in that challenging time would have really helped me to gain some clarity and to see the path forward more clearly, as opposed to just being warped in this whirlwind of victim mode. So yeah, I think the main reason why we do need to look for hidden meaning and the lesson within our challenges and our suffering is so we have clarity, so that we know the way forward and we can move through those challenging times in a way that is aligned with who we are and who we want to be. I think that is the most important reason as to why we do need to find the lessons in our own suffering. But I guess, like, how do we see the lessons? It's easier said than done. And it's taken me a lot of years of practicing, I guess, of changing my mindset from sort of like a victim mindset, like what I was saying before of, why is this happening to me, to become more, what is this teaching me? And being calm about it and being like cool, calm, collected, rather than, oh my God, my life's falling apart. Why the fuck does this keep happening to me? And what the heck is going on? And I guess what we want is to be in the driver's seat of our life. So yeah, how do we do this? The first step is just to acknowledge that everyone is so unique, so different. People like different things, like different people. People are attracted to the beach, and some people are attracted to the mountains, and some people are attracted to rivers. Like, there are so many things about people that make us all so beautifully unique. That's kind of the first step in learning how to see the good in the bad. Because once you can acknowledge that everyone's different, you're not going to look for a solution based on like what your friend has said or your mum has said. And you're not going to choose a solution that worked for your friend's brother's girlfriend's dog, Like, once you understand that you are not like anyone else, then it's a lot easier for you to trust yourself and trust how you feel and trust that you have the answer already. Because at the end of the day, you want to find a lesson in your experience that feels right for you and not other people's expectations of you. So circling back to my big dilemma of dropping out of uni or not, a big thing that was holding me back from making that decision was the expectations I had of myself and of my parents and of my friends. Like, it's really hard to change the course of your life when you've got in your head that that's where you're headed, that that's where you're going. So for so long for me, it was like, I am doing civil engineering. I'm going to be a civil engineer. I'm going to be successful. And I got into that degree and I was like, wow, this is not what I want at all. This is nothing like I expected. And it's quite the ego death. You have to come to terms with what the fuck's going on. Like, you have to come to terms with yourself and what you wanted, and that doesn't align with you anymore. So, yeah, a big way for you to be able to find some wisdom in a crappy experience is for you to just let go of the expectations that you hold of yourself, that you perceive your parents hold of you, that you perceive your friends hold of you, and just anyone in your life, and just trust that you've got yourself. Because when you trust that you've got yourself, you're able to sit in the discomfort of the pain and the challenge that's actually going on. You're able to ask yourself and listen for the answers to who are you? Who do you want to become? And will this path that you're on lead you to the place that you want to be? And you're able to listen to whether or not like your higher self is asking you to overcome the challenge, or if it's asking you for redirection and maybe to find something that feels more aligned with who you are. And so, yeah, sitting in our discomfort is a really important tool that allows us to find meaning in our struggles. And feeling our feelings is such an important practice, and it's something that I'll talk about in a future episode. I really want to dedicate a whole episode to feeling our feelings, because that's just how important I think it is. Because when we are able to sit with ourselves in the struggle, in the challenge, in the moment, we get to know ourselves. And the easiest way to find lessons that do align with ourselves is to know ourselves. And when we know ourselves, we are able to align with others and connect with other people who are right for us. And we're able to connect to goals and find purpose that, again, connects with us and who we are in this moment. So at the end of the day, our ability to grow and learn from the hard things that happen to us is the gateway to a greater connection with ourselves and with others. And it is a way for us to know ourselves a little more and align with people who are meant for us. At the end of the day, our ability to grow through all of the hard things that do happen to us, and our ability to gracefully understand and appreciate the discomfort of our challenges leads us to a deep alignment of ourselves and an alignment of us with the people that we care about. Being able to move through our hard times and come out the other side with a little bit of wisdom and appreciation for that experience, no matter how painful it was, allows us to have a deeper capacity to give and receive love to not only ourselves, but the people that surround us. That can be family or friends or just strangers on the street. I truly do believe that the more we are able to see the beauty of our suffering, the more we are able to find compassion for people that we don't even know. We're able to move through the world with a little more grace and a little more joy. And, being able to have this perspective on our challenges, to see them in such a light, to see them in such an optimistic way, really gives us the ability to hone into all the little joys of life. It really allows us to be grateful for the small moments, for the little moments of connection with friends, with strangers, with family. And it gives us so many skills to move through the world with passion and empathy and and courage. The more that you're able to find the joy in your suffering, the easier it becomes to align with yourself. And in doing so, you're attracting people who are meant for you. You're attracting people into your life. You're saying yes to inviting people into your life who are on the same page as you, who want the same things as you. And you're saying yes to inviting people into your life who can add value to it, who can bring you up, who can share their own wisdom with you, you're inviting people into your life who have learned really powerful things from their own challenges, and therefore you gain insight into things that you've never experienced. And so you can hold empathy for people who have been through things that you've never endured. And I think that's a really beautiful way to move through the world, when we're constantly looking at the things that happen to us as a way to evolve and grow and hold a little bit more love in our hearts so that we can give it to other people. And that is a wrap on the very first episode of Growin Through It. Thank you guys so much for listening to this one. I appreciate the support so much. If you did like it, give it a share on socials. Send it to your mum, send it to your grandma, send it to your friends. Like, if you think anyone would benefit from giving this a listen, please share it to them. It would mean the world to me. I'm also starting an email list, so jump in that one if you want to stay in the loop and join the community of little cherubs. I'll pop the link to that one in the description. I've also got a few other episodes waiting for you guys to give them a listen, so go check those ones out. Once again, a massive thank you to everybody who took the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me, and I appreciate you guys that bloody much. But that is all from me today. The world is waiting for you, so get on out there and enjoy your big, beautiful life. Bye!